So if I continue with 8, I'm going to do the same thing as I did in number 7. The first thing we need to do is find the hypotenuse, the short leg and the long leg. I'm going to go across here to find the hypotenuse. Right, these two must be the legs. Oh, I forgot. I guess we got to put the 30 over here. And I know that's 30 because this is a 30, 60, and then 90. Okay, it has to be 30. It's 30, 60, 90. That one was 60, that one must be 30. Now that I found where the 30 is, or that I wrote down the 30, I know this side over here is the short leg. So the short leg is y. So I'm going to put that into my equation. And the hypotenuse we said was this, 16 over the square root of 3 divided by 3. And then the longer leg must be x. And we know it actually is because it's across the 60-degree angle. See? So I know it is. So the long leg is x, the short leg we said was y, and then if we put it into the equation here. So we have these two equations. I can't do anything with this one just yet because there's two variables, but this one has one variable, so I can start solving this. So to solve this, what I did in class was divided by 2, but I did mention if you multiply both sides by a half, it also cancels. So I'm going to take this side and multiply by a half. This side, multiply by a half, and this is what you get. The 2 that's in the numerator, again this is technically the top, and the 2 that's in the denominator cancel. So you're left with 1y. Well, that's 1y. And then over here, again, you gotta think of this as the top and the bottom. These two are technically in the bottom, but before you multiply it and change it to a 6, you should think, hey, I can divide these. 16 divided by 2 is 8. So I'm going to cancel these and just put an 8 on top. And then the only thing you're left with is a 1, 8, and a square root of 3. Well, I know 1 times 8 is 8. The square root of 3, you can't do anything with that. And then on the bottom, all we have is 3. That got divided out. And that's your answer, 4y. I'm going to take that and plug it into here. And then bring down the other square root of 3. And then say, watch, I don't do anything with the 8/3 yet. There's the 8/3. I just brought it down. But then you should be like, hey, square root of 3 times the square root of 3, that's just 3, right? Look at number 1. The square root of 3 times the square root of 3 is just 3. Now, instead of multiplying and then dividing, again, you can just say, hey, I know I got a 3 on top, I got a 3 on the bottom. I can just cancel those out, and that gives me x equals 8. Okay. Now again, whenever we continue to solve the new triangles, again, you should always write down the two equations. If you write them down, 1, you'll remember them faster, and 2, you'll know how to work with it. Okay. So here's number 9. I think 7 and 8 were the most work, if I remember correctly. So these shouldn't be that much work. At least I think. I could be wrong. So that's 30 degrees, that's 90 degrees. So over here should be 60. Okay, again, I want to figure out what's the hypotenuse, what's the short leg, what's the long leg. That's the hypotenuse, A. The short leg is across the 30-degree angle, B. So I don't know these two. I'm just going to put the B there. And then the long leg, oh, here you go. I forgot to put short leg here. That's the short leg, so this one must be the long leg. I'm just going to put L, L, and SL. So the long leg is 8. Okay. So I can solve the equation on the right. I have b times the square root of 3. I want to get b by itself. So I'm going to divide by the square root of 3. That goes away. We have 8 over the square root of 3 equals b. And then you should tell yourself, hey, I cannot leave the square root of 3 in the top and the bottom. Or I can't leave it in the bottom, so I need to multiply the top and the bottom by the square root of 3. And then we simplify that. I'm running out of space. I don't want to keep going down because then I'm going to get into the 11. I guess I'll just do it. On top I have 8 square root of 3, and then on the bottom I just have 3. Now after you've seen this in class, and then if you watch the video again, it should make more sense. But now that I figured out that this is b, I can plug it up in here and then solve that one. So this is 2 times, and then we just said b is this, 8 times the square root of 3 over 3. 2 times 8 is 16, don't forget the square root of 3, and all of that is over 3. And that's the a value. So a wasn't too difficult. I promise 11 is going to be easier. But that was number 9. So let's go through and do number 10. Okay, again, that's 60, so this one must be 30. I already have my equations written down. So this is the hypotenuse, x. The short leg. Here's the short leg. How do I know it's the short leg? Because it's across 30 degrees. The short leg is 8. And then the long leg must be y. Long leg. And again, I know it's the long leg because it's across the 60 degrees. Let me move that over a little. And then again, this is done already. You cannot do anything with that. I put an 8 in there, and that's it. And then over here, all we need to do is multiply 8 times 2 and get 16. So see how easy that was? I knew they were going to get easier, I just couldn't remember where. So that was 10. So when we move on to number 11 and 12, again, write the equations. It doesn't hurt anybody, it only helps. Write the equations. That's a short leg. Okay, so let's look at number 11. So this is 90, there's 30, this one must be 60. So I'm going to go across the right angle, or the 90-degree angle, to figure out that's the hypotenuse. So the hypotenuse is 2, and then the short leg is across 30 degrees. So the short leg is v. And then the longer leg, which is across 60 degrees angle, is u. Again, I knew these were getting easy because this one is easy. V is 1. How do I know it's 1? Because if I divide both sides by 2, I get V is 1. And then V is 1. I put that there. And what's 1 times the square root of 3? Well, that's just the square root of 3. Okay? Easy. Maybe I should have put the first 3 at the bottom. But anyway, let's move on. 12. So this one's a bit blurry. I think I dropped some water on it. But that's 30 degrees. This one over here, 60 degrees, and that's the 90-degree angle. Across the 90-degree angle is the hypotenuse. Across the 30-degree angle is the short leg. And then this is the long leg. Now, if the triangles are drawn correctly, I mentioned this in class, you could kind of see which one is the short leg and which one is the longer leg. Like this one obviously looks shorter than this one. The hypotenuse, there's no question about the hypotenuse. That one's always across 90. Okay. So we got the hypotenuse is m. The shorter leg is 3/2. So that's what the first equation looks like. the longer leg is n, and the shorter leg is 3/2. And that's what the second equation looks like. Well, both of these are actually pretty easy to solve. They don't look easy, but they are. You got a 2 on top, 2 on the bottom. M equals 3. Or you could say 2 times 3 is 6. 6 divided by 2, 3. And then over here, because these are not underneath the square root, you cannot combine it with that one. We would just write it like this. And that's it. We still have 3/2, and it's still being multiplied by the square root of 3. It just looks different.